have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world, when you hit that play button. So glad you did. Where do you want to be? That's the end of my intro there. Where do you want to be? And that's what we've been talking about over the last few weeks. Heck, we've been talking about that over the last 6 years. Going into year number 7 here shortly. With that in mind, I want to let you know that either this episode or perhaps the next one, depending on how deep we go today, will take us into the holiday break here. I usually take a few weeks off to just take a breather, do some self-care, enjoy the holidays with everyone else. So just know that and keep that in mind. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. Just go to the genesisfrequency.com, go to the episodes tabs, and I got 6 years under that tab of podcasts, all about personal, professional, and leadership development, helping you to move in a certain way, making quantum leaps in the direction of the life you would love to live, personally and professionally. That's so important for you to remember. This isn't just sitting in, this isn't about just sitting in your mom's basement and wishing that you had a new car or something like that. This is how we do it. This is the wisdom of the ages regarding the certain way of tapping into your infinite potential. And yes, this does apply whether you are just working on something for you in your small business, perhaps as an entrepreneur, or in your corporate environment. And it doesn't matter if you're a C-suite executive, supervisor, managerial level, executive level, team member, vice president, it doesn't matter. Consumer forward facing individual, maintenance, it doesn't matter. If you want something more out of life, if you have experienced at any time any longing and discontent for something more, unsatisfied with the way things are, what's been showing up for you in your life, all these things I talk about within this show are for you. Years and years and years of research and study and application and action to my own life to move me, to help me make a quantum leap. Boy, did I need one. Talk about transformation. Geez, anything was better. Anything would have been a quantum leap from where I was. And that episode's out there in the library as well. Go all the way back to the beginning. But where we left off last week, we started a few weeks ago asking the question that I ask every year around Thanksgiving. Hey, what is it you want? What do you want more of? Get ahead, start now. Don't wait. Don't wait till like everybody else, uh, when there's a few minutes left in the year and the clock's about to, I'm just tripping over my own tongue today. Clock's about to strike midnight. It's New Year's Eve. What does everybody do? They're having the bag, they pull out a bar napkin and they start making resolutions. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do this next year. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. That's not how we go about setting goals and moving into the life we would love to live, experiencing the results that we want to experience. So over the last few episodes, I said, hey, make that list. What is it? Then we took a deep dive into, hey, what are you believing about you? What are you believing about what's possible for you? Are you living life? Are you at least doing this planning about the life you would love to live? Living in the energy of knowing your potential is infinite. Or are you still maybe just getting started with all this personal, professional, and leadership development, and you're one of those that thinks, well, yeah, I've seen other people do it, so I know it's possible for them, but it's not possible for me. Again, Henry Ford, last episode, in many episodes, whatever, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So I invited you to work on your beliefs, to examine your beliefs and say, what do I believe about me? That's where we got to start. We have to believe that all things are possible for ourselves. And maybe they're not all possible coming from your ego. That's one thing we have to square up with and face, that we are all made of this higher power, that we are all made from the same source, and that source with an uppercase S. Call it spirit, God, the divine, the universe, all that is, whatever it is, it's the source of infinite potential within all of us. And even in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, he says this infinite intelligence by our subconscious mind and the power of our imagination, these are all connecting points with infinite, this infinite intelligence, this unlimited potential, all knowledge and knowing, unlimited wisdom. We have that within us that can open this door and step into that place in consciousness where all things are possible. So I encourage you to make that list. Let's assume here, for the sake of this show, that you made that list energetically. You took a look at that list. You went back to it a couple times, several times. Maybe you did this over a course of a week. Listen to the previous episodes if you haven't, and you know what it is you want to go after. You want to pick something personally and something professionally, a C type goal that, man, excites you and it scares you at the same time. And that's where you are going. You've lined up your beliefs. You're saying, yeah, I'm willing and I'm able. That's all you got to have. You don't have to know how. You looked at your beliefs and you're saying, yeah, I took a look and I have to start believing differently about me. And you're working on that. It's a work in progress. It's not something you do on Saturday night or Tuesday night and okay, I got new beliefs. It's something that you're always working on through affirmative statements and through gradually building your new self-image. So all things that we'll talk about moving forward. So you're in the right place and the right time if you're still here and any of this is resonating with you. Again, go back a few episodes, catch up if you haven't been listening. So what I want to talk about next is, okay, you've stumbled a few times. Maybe you wrote out things on that bar napkin at midnight on New Year's Eve, and you really want to move into this new life. You are really sick and tired of falling down or getting so far, and then your head spins around, and then you look around and man, I am right back where I started from. I always get so far. Or maybe this time you did the exercise like you've been instructed to do, and you wrote down everything on the piece of paper with no limitations. And you've really identified this thing that, man, time is of the essence. I'm not getting any younger. This is what I want. This is what I'm going after. I made the decision. I made the commitment. I set the intention, and this is what I intend to go after. I have no idea how this is going to come true in my life. So that's where we're at right now. You know what that is. If you don't know what that is, again, reach out to me. Reach out to me for any of this, anything I talk about. Reach out. Stephen, Stephen, at successocean.com. That's my email. My calendar is successappointment.com. Success appointment, all one word. Open it up. It opens up a calendar in your time zone. Book some time to speak with me. And book some time to speak with me. If whether you want to work on yourself as a just individually and some goals you want to knock out, whether it's for your small business that you want to grow and step into more, And whether it's for your corporate team, I am a franchisee of Leadership Management International, and I facilitate leadership development and corporate training in all aspects of your enterprise, focusing on all kinds of organizations and ministries and nonprofits and all of that. So reach out, let's talk. Now, back to the energy, back to the belief, back to what you want. You have to move into it energetically. We started to talk about that a little bit at the end of the last episode. Everything that you want has its own frequency. And we've been living, if you have not realized your dreams, you, we, us, whoever it is that's working on something and has not attained or accomplished their dreams is living on a frequency that is unlike the frequency of the life they would love to live. You look at it, as if you're looking at a sheet of music and the note, say there's a whole note on the bottom line, that's an E. And let's just say that E is where you have been living E for every day of your life and you don't like it. Well, there is a few lines above that on the music staff, right? EGBDF, remember that? That top line's an F. That's higher up. Perhaps your dream, your frequency, the life you would love to live is on that very top line. And really, the lines go up into infinity. We usually stay within a range when we're talking about musical instruments, but those lines go up. So where's the frequency? How do we move into the vibration and the frequency of the life you would love to live? Well, we do that energetically. Remember, the formula is always thoughts plus feelings plus actions equal results. Now, that's very simplified, but the feeling tone plays a very, very important part in the frequency that you are living on. So noticing that energy you felt when you looked over your list and you said, yes, that's it. That's what I want for my company. It's the culture I want to establish. Or in your personal life, yes, that time and money freedom goal, that's what I want. Or whether it's in your small business, yes, taking this small business to $10 million a year, that's it. Whatever it is. See, you touched that frequency. When I invited you to go back through your list and notice what excites you and scares you, what gets the goosebumps going and the hair on your arms standing up, touched that frequency. For a moment, you were in that energy. So what we need to do now is we need to sustain it. We need to stay there. We need to stay in the energy and the frequency and the dynamic of the life you would love to live. So we build this thing out. We start building it out. Remember, you don't have to know how. You're using, at this point, you're still using the power of your imagination. And when I say power, remember, it's so important to make the choice. You have the power to make a choice, to make the decision to say, this is the choice I make, and make that decision, to set an intention that this is the direction I'm going in the months and the year ahead, and to make a commitment to that thing, whatever it is, personally and professionally. Okay, so that's the groundwork that you have to do. So now you know what it is. Now we're gonna use the power of our imagination to build it out and get really specific about it. So this is more work that we do in our silent time and our quiet time. We close our outer eyes to the world around us. We close our eyes to the world that tells us we're limited. We close our outer eyes to lack and limitation. We close our outer eyes to worries and doubts and fears and what ifs. All that doesn't exist when we're doing this work and moving into the power of our imagination. What does it look like? Build it out. Feel into it. Move into it energetically. If it's building your company, what does it look like? What does it feel like when you walk through those front doors? How do you want it to feel? What are you seeing? What are you tasting? What are you hearing? What are you smelling? Involve all the senses and build this out, whatever whatever it may be. And you're doing this for your personal goal and your professional goal. And we have a law of specificity. You got to get specific. And I use an example all the time. I work with people. They said, "Well, you know what? I just kept affirming and saying I'm so happy and grateful. I now have a house by the water." And you know what? They moved by this road that's real busy that always has potholes and chuck holes, and it rains all the time where they live, and those holes fill up with water. They got what they wanted, but they weren't specific. They got a house by the water, chuck holes that fill up all the time. So be very specific. Build this thing out in your imagination and lock it in. When you know you got all the details, just lock it in. And then what I encourage you to do is to move in, to energetically move into it as your present tense, right now, right here reality. Because remember, everything was created twice. Everything you see in the physical, visible world of form was created twice. And this is how. Somebody built it in their imagination first. Then they took steps in a certain way to move it from the non-visible world of non-form into the visible world of form. But it was created twice. Everything, the car, the doorknob, the computer, the desk, the chair. Think about it. Everything. Somebody had the idea, designed it, worked with it, built it out specifically in their mind, and then brought it from that space into this physical space. So you're doing the same thing. But moving into it energetically, you are affirming that it is so now. So you're seeing this image on the screen of your mind. You're imagining it, but not like you're watching a movie, but as if you are in the experience and the energy of it right now and in every moment of every day. See, when you listen to these podcasts, there's a real important part that you play, and that's the application of everything I share with you and taking action on everything I share with you. Just listening to these every week will not do anything if you don't do anything. First thing you need to do is reach out and let's have a one-on-one conversation, no charge with me, and that's it. That's your action step right now. I'll find out where you are and everything that you've been listening to, and we'll pick it up from there and get you moving, get you running now in the direction of the life you would love to live. So back to moving in energetically to get ourselves to the point where it's out with the old and in with the new. We have to start affirming this present tense reality. And one of my teachers, many, many teachers, but the one of the greatest prosperity teachers that ever lived, Mr. Bob Proctor, always started his affirmations, the affirmative state, with "I am so happy and grateful now that." See, gratitude in advance is the most powerful thing we can express in the world, especially when we are looking to make manifest the goals and dreams. When we want to see show up in this world of form, to give thanks in advance is extremely powerful. So that's what we're doing with affirmation. We're denying any power to lack, limitation, worry, doubt, fear that comes up, and it will. From our limited human perspective, that comes rushing in all the time. And you're going to hear it because these old habits, these old thoughts, they die hard. I mean, this is not always easy. That's why we have to build out the affirmations that support the vision, the specific vision you're building in your mind. I am so happy and grateful now that I am living in a home that is by or next to or on the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of whatever it is, not the chuck hole and just leaving that up and letting the universe decide, being very specific. I'm so happy and grateful now that. And build out many, many affirmations. But your main goal, your personal goal, and your professional goal have one affirmation that really embodies it all, and then build out some other ones underneath that. You see what we're doing? We're taking this big goal, and then you're going to go back and listen to some specific goal achievement episodes I put out there. We're going to chunk them down a little bit. We're going to take bite-sized pieces to move us gradually from where we are to where we want to be. But for now, it's about moving into the energy of the life you would love to live for yourself personally, for your professional life, for your small business, in your corporation, in your ministry. You have to do this. What does it look like? What does it look like? I've worked with spiritual leaders and church leaders, and I was one myself, where people wanted to maybe cut corners. We did church in a box for a while, years and years ago, and we would set up in a community center, and then we'd move the chairs in and move the podium in, and these things, and get the music and the soundboard and all set up. And here's a couple people wanted to cut corners. We've only been averaging X amount of people. Why are we still setting up for 50? All right, maybe we're getting half that, or 12, or it doesn't matter what the number was. And that's where this comes to play. You cannot vary from your vision. We get what we expect, not what we want. So I expected every week, every seat in that community center to be filled. And it grew. Some weeks it was lower, some weeks it was higher, but I expected more. And that's what we have to do when it comes to our dreams, our goals, our aspirations, and living the life we would love to live. And I don't care. I don't care if this is in the boardroom. I don't care if you're CEO, C-suite. You have to, especially C-suite. All right, Mr. CEO, president, vice president. If you want to have an influence and impact culture, you have to live the vision. See, this is all about language. I may use different words than you use in the boardroom. I might say dream and the life you would love to live, and you might be talking corporate vision, right? You might be using words like mission, core values, and I can speak that language too, whatever language you want me to speak. But it's all the same because we work, we must work in harmony with universal laws. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about the certain way. I'm talking about the laws of infinite potential. We're all wired the same way. Our subconscious mind works in the same way. And that's what we're dealing with. Something that most people don't really understand too much about. So stay here, stick with this. We're out of time for today. I'm going to wrap this up. There will be another episode before we wrap it up for the year. But please move into the vision energetically and live from it in thought, in word, in action, and choices that you make and decisions that you make. You must live from the energy of the dream, the wish, the vision fulfilled. Reach out and talk to me. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, and I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. We'll see you next time. God bless you.